I have to admit that I love carrying multi-tools. I don't often need them, but when I do, I love having accessible tools to help solve a situation, even if it's just tightening a loose screw or cutting open a package. Hey, how's it going everyone? It's Ernest from TripAstute. In this video, we're going to be exploring multi-tools for travelers and the challenges of traveling with them. Also, we're going to share how you can win an EDC Pocket Armor from Popov Leather, which is a perfect case for your multi-tool. I don't know if it's just my personality, but I've always been a huge fan of multi-tools. I love feeling prepared and confident to handle any situation. In fact, I've always carried one, whether it be a full-size Leatherman or a small keychain size Swiss Army knife. However, after 9/11, carrying multi-tools on a plane became nearly impossible, mostly because of restrictions on blades. Even tiny keychain size multi-tools were being confiscated by the TSA. So if you're someone who likes to travel but also likes to be prepared, I thought we'd explore the options that are available and also some tips to keep in mind when traveling with multi-tools. But first, if you're new here, welcome to our channel. TripAstute is a travel channel that is focused on sharing ways to make travel easier, affordable, and more enjoyable. Traveling can be stressful and expensive, so we're looking for ways to help you maximize your experience through travel tips, points and miles, and innovative gear. If that sounds interesting to you, please consider subscribing. As I mentioned earlier, anything with a blade is frowned upon when traveling. Luckily, there are some multi-tools that are geared for travelers. You'll see traditional multi-tools that don't include a blade. There are single-piece multi-tools that are often less complicated and more friendly looking. And there are even wearable multi-tools like the Leatherman Tread series that have tools built into a bracelet. In the traditional multi-tool category, you have a few choices. Victorinox, which is one of the makers of the Swiss Army knife, has a tool called the Jet Setter. It's a keychain-sized tool without a knife blade. It's very basic, but it might be all you want or need to carry. Leatherman also has a keychain-sized tool called the Leatherman Style PS. I actually showed it in the previous video about my everyday carry, or EDC. Gerber also has a keychain-sized multi-tool called the Dime. The normal version has a knife blade, but there is a travel version that does not include a blade. If you're looking for a multi-tool with a bit more heft and size, you'll want to check out the Gerber MP600. Just be careful since the tool comes in various versions, with one being a no-knife version. I actually couldn't find it on their website, but I did find it on Amazon. It may be discontinued, so I'm not sure how long it'll be available, but if you prefer a more traditional size multi-tool with no knife, this may be your best option. The next set of multi-tools are single-piece tools. These are tools that are usually one or two-piece design tools. They're generally less expensive than traditional multi-tools and more simple and friendly looking. That might seem like a weird thing, but I generally don't recommend looking too tactical when traveling. In fact, I've even heard travel sites recommend against wearing anything that looks military related when traveling to certain parts of the world, as it'll only draw unnecessary attention and scrutiny. There are a ton of examples of tools in this category from all sorts of multi-tool and knife manufacturers. For example, here's one from a company called KeySmart called the All-Tool Raptor. I like this one a lot since it has wrench tools which are useful if you think you might be biking. I'm not much of a cyclist, but I do seem to end up on a bike a lot when traveling, so having some basic tools to make adjustments is very handy. The other one-piece tool that I carry a lot when traveling is my Gerber Shard. Again, I covered it in my EDC video. It's a very inexpensive and basic tool, which makes it very useful for traveling. The last category of multi-tools is wearable tools. I actually don't have any of these tools, but I have been intrigued by them. Leatherman was one of the first ones in this category with their Tread series. These are basically bracelets and watches that have multi-tool bits built into the band. To be honest, I don't know how discreet these bracelets would be when traveling, but technically they shouldn't pose an issue when traveling through security and could be a useful way to carry tools. I haven't handled one, so I can't comment on whether they're comfortable or heavy. While I like the idea of wearable tools, they are a bit pricey and a bit too flashy for my taste. Maybe I'm a bit old school, but I don't want to draw unnecessary attention toward myself, especially when I'm away from home. In terms of carrying knives and tools, I much prefer to carry them in my pocket or bag. But as you know, we tend to carry a lot more sensitive electronic gear when traveling. So keeping things from scratching up your phone or even destroying your pocket can be an issue, especially when you're wearing specialty fabrics that are lighter and more breathable. The best solution that I found is to use a lightweight and thin case. I've been using a product from Popov Leather called the EDC Pocket Armor. It can fit a variety of tools and knives, including single-piece multi-tools and some slim Swiss Army knives and Leatherman tools. It also has an elastic slot for a small pen, which is very useful. Also, if you have a knife or multi-tool with a nicer finish, the Pocket Armor can help protect it from scratches and wear. In case you haven't heard of Popov Leather, they are a Canadian leather goods maker that is fairly popular in the EDC community. They hand stitch all their products and they source all their leather from Horween, which is one of the most famous and prestigious leather tanneries in the US. They make a variety of products including wallets, belts, watch straps, and travel gear. They're known for their high quality craftsmanship and all their products include a lifetime guarantee. Popov Leather generously sent over an EDC Pocket Armor to give away to you all, so I'll include details at the end of the video. This isn't a sponsored video, but we thought we'd try to partner with them since they make a lot of high quality leather goods that are useful for travelers. Some of you might be thinking that it's just not worth carrying a multi-tool while traveling, and you might be right, though I generally prefer to be prepared. And if you're traveling with kids or going to be in situations where the stakes might be higher, it never hurts to have tools that can solve a situation. In fact, I've had several situations during my travels where they've come in very handy, like when fixing a bike seat post that came loose while cycling around Panama, or even removing a cactus needle that got stuck in my hand in Joshua Tree National Park. So if you're traveling with multi-tools, here are some tips to keep in mind. Number one, keep it small and simple. While it might be tempting to bring a multi-tool that is at the limit, for example, a multi-tool with scissors that are just under 4 inches, which is required by TSA, you're probably asking to have it confiscated. My advice is to keep it small and simple. Anything that looks complex or potentially larger than necessary is likely going to be inspected and potentially deemed dangerous. Also, bright colored tools like a Swiss Army knife are just going to be a lot more friendly and less threatening. With that in mind, number two, assume that it will be confiscated. Even if you meet TSA guidelines, your item is still under the discretion of the officer. If losing your tool hurts your wallet, or if the tool has some kind of sentimental value, it's not worth trying to take it on a plane. This is why I love inexpensive single-piece tools like the Gerber Shard or Tool Raptor. Otherwise, I recommend putting it in your checked-in luggage. Number three, be proactive. If you're going to take a multi-tool on a plane, I suggest being proactive and opening all the tools before putting it through the baggage screen. I know a lot of people online recommend putting it at the bottom of your bag and playing dumb, but I don't think it's worth the risk or trouble. Number four, be polite. If you're asked about your tool or even told that it can't pass through security, I suggest being polite and explaining why the tool meets the guidelines. As with most things in life, being polite can help alleviate the tension and often move the situation toward a positive outcome. Number five, bring a stamped envelope. A lot of people online recommend bringing a self-addressed stamped envelope with you. That way you can drop it off at the airport postal box to have it shipped back to your home rather than donating it to TSA. I've never personally done this, but it makes a lot of sense. Number six, be discreet. Those of you that carry multi-tools or knives are gonna think I'm crazy, but I honestly recommend not using a pocket clip when carrying a tool or knife abroad. Again, it draws unnecessary attention to the fact that you're carrying something. Instead, I recommend carrying it in your pocket or bag. Number seven, know the laws and rules of your destination. While TSA rules and regulations seem strict in the US, don't assume that the laws are the same in other countries. Even if you pack your multi-tools in your checked-in luggage and are able to carry it during your trip, make sure to check local laws at your destination. For example, many places like the UK have restrictions on the length of knives and on locking blades. The last thing you want is to not only have your multi-tools confiscated, but also found to be breaking the law. Even a small knife with a locking blade could be a violation at your destination. This also goes for other places where there might be a security check. Just because you can take it onto a plane doesn't mean it'll pass a security checkpoint at a government office, museum, or even an amusement park. When in doubt, I suggest leaving it at home, your hotel, or in your car. Lastly, I mentioned that we're doing a giveaway. Popov Leather sent us an EDC Pocket Armor to give away to our audience. Just head over to our website to enter. You don't have to purchase anything, but there are multiple ways to enter and gain entries. By signing up for some of our social media channels and sharing the giveaway, you'll earn extra entries into the contest. The more options you complete, the more entries you'll earn, and of course, there's no pressure to enter. The giveaway runs until Friday, July 12th. We'll then randomly select our winner on July 13th. I'll include a link in the video description. Keep in mind that the contest is only for US and Canadian residents, though if you're not based in the US or Canada, don't worry, we'll have more giveaways soon, so stay tuned. Do you travel with a multi-tool? If so, which one do you carry? Also, do you have any stories or tips for carrying tools when traveling? Let us know in the comment section below. I've included Amazon links to the tools shown in the video. TripSoup does get a percentage if you use our links. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it helps us to continue building content for this channel. If you enjoyed this video or found it useful, please give us a thumbs up and consider sharing the video with others. It really helps us with growing our channel and community. Until next time, travel safe and travel smart.